All right, welcome back to another trade recap. Today is April 13th, 2026, and I'm going to be going over the trade that I took today, how I broke even, and how I lost out on pretty much 3K because of this trade. Today was one of the most weirdest trading days of all time because it was just a 400 point gap to the downside, 400 point new week opening gap, which resulted in pretty weird price action that I really haven't backtested on or practiced on before. Like price closed here and we opened here. So as market opened, we were inversing a bullish gap to the upside, which is not something you could normally say. But either way, we were pretty much bullish coming into the day. On the 4 hour, this candle was pretty much all the way up here already. So we were about to inverse a gap that was already bullish, but we were trending higher. Either way, ever since market opened yesterday, we kept on trending higher. So it was obvious that we wanted to go higher and that we wanted to fill this gap. That is the strongest draw on liquidity in the entire world. Are these new week opening unfilled gaps or just price areas where price has not filled in yet? And then obviously we had these highs and we had this 1 hour inefficiency that we had to fill in. So I was bullish on the day. Going into market open, there was a pretty clean setup, but price just moved way too fast. If we go on the 1 minute, we're going to be able to see as soon as market opened, we started to trend down. I had this 30-minute gap marked out, and I wanted this low to get taken out before we reverse higher. Either way, I was going to take this trade because we bounced off of a 5 minute. Right here, we had a 5 minute. We bounced off of it, and we proceeded to go up. But the fact that we edged this 30-minute gap by literally like 5 points, and the fact that this candle by itself was 60 points caused me to stay away because I wasn't sure if this was news, even though there wasn't anything on Forex Factory. So I wanted to stay away from this as much as possible. So I waited a little longer, and I'm like, okay, I want to see this gap get filled, and then we ended up filling the entire gap. So then I'm like, okay, what do we have above us still? I was looking at bookmap and I saw that we had so much orders at 350 level and at the 400 level, and that 400 level lined up with, I believe, previous day highs from Friday. Let me put on my marker. Yeah, we had previous day highs from Friday, April 10th. So I was just targeting that. All I needed to see then was a retrace into a gap, manipulation, and an inversion, which we got right here. We tapped this 15-minute gap, and then I answered before the 5 minute inverse, so we had this strong 5 minute close. And the reason why I answered before we got the inverse was just because of the confirmation that I had. We created this big of a wick lower, and usually when we create this big of a wick, it's usually a strong area of support or resistance, whatever. I think I don't even know. Whatever. Either way, I knew it's a good place. My original stop loss was down here. My original TP was all the way up here at this blue line. However, as price proceeded to go, well, up first, the reason why I entered was because we left this big of a wick, showing me that price wanted to go higher. Very rarely when we leave this big of a wick do we come down and take it again. So I felt like this was a protected stop. And then also we had a CISD, which is where I entered, and we inversed a 3 minute, I believe. Either way, we had a 1 minute inverse, and then price proceeded to chop around. We finally ended up inversing the 5 minute gap on the third candle. I don't understand why it brings me so back. We inversed it on the fifth candle, and usually when it takes a while to inverse a gap, that means that we might not get the move up. So I was pretty hesitant to keep the move going, which is when I finally decided to move my stop up to this level right here. And then I decided to move my TP down to the 350 level because I saw that bookmap had a lot of orders resting there, so I knew that we want to take it out. And then I had my break-even point set when ES took out the most relevant highs at the moment. So we made equal highs on ES, and as soon as ES took those highs, and when we started to see a reaction lower, I'm like, okay, this could be a point of reversal. So I went break even here, and of course it took me out by a couple points, and it proceeded to run to full TP, and then even ran all the way up to here, which bookmap predicted perfectly. If you guys don't use order flow, I highly recommend it. First day trying it, and it was actually really good. Might incorporate it more going forward. However, it was a pretty nice trading day. Broke even, but can't do much about it.